You don't need to become someone else to change your life. You just need to be more intentional about who you already are. You are good enough right now, exactly as you are. Even the thing that you're thinking in your head, like, no, actually, I hate that about me and I want it to go away. That just means that you're not done growing and you're allowed to be good enough now and grow. And those two things can exist at the same exact time. We have spent the entire month of March talking about identity and developing who you are and letting go of the version of you that you don't want to be anymore. And so, to wrap us up at the end of the month here, I really want to give you guys the formula on how to build your new identity. Let's get it out of the way now. You're not transforming into somebody new overnight and deleting the old version of you. This isn't you creating an identity out of thin air. It's refining and editing and choosing intentionally who you want to be and doing that from a place of self-love, not self-deprecation. If anything in this episode resonates with you, I would really appreciate if you rated and reviewed the show. It really does help support the show and get episodes out to more like-minded individuals like you and I who need to live a little bit more wellishly. And if you're not already and you are a person who loves self-improvement but hates the pressure of being perfect all the time, you're going to want to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. So much of the time, people feel that they need a complete reinvention, that in order to transform into this new identity and become the version of yourself that you're picturing inside of your head, that dream version of you, that you need to become unrecognizable. We hear that constantly. Be unrecognizable. Be this new, wonderful, incredible version of yourself that's completely different than who you were before. But the problem with that is that it creates a lens of shitting on yourself, for lack of a better word. And it creates this trap of thinking that you need to fix yourself first or that you won't be good enough until. And that is not going to get you where you want to go. Why? Why wouldn't that work? If I was just disciplined enough and I worked hard enough and I took on these new things, this new persona, these new habits, why would I not become the person that I'm picturing inside of my head? Because I know I'm capable of doing all of the things that are on my checklist to get it 100% right and then become that person. So why would I not become them? Why would I not become unrecognizable? Because you're not allowing yourself to enjoy your life. You are not giving yourself the opportunity to sit and experience life from a place of ease and relaxation and peacefulness. That you have so much rigidity and self-deprecation and anger and concern around making sure that you get everything right. You get the things that you want to get done in a very strategic, can't screw it up, perfectionist sort of mentality, that you're not allowing yourself to experience and enjoy your life. All of that structure and discipline is necessary. It's talked about because it is necessary, that you have to do things based on your plan, not your mood that you're feeling. You can't give in to the instant gratification of just laying on your couch instead of getting up and doing the thing that you said that you were going to do that benefits your long-term goal of becoming the dream version of you. You have to do the things that they're talking about. However, it's the approach that you apply to doing those things, that you're disciplined with relaxation at the forefront of your mind, because the point is not to add new things into your life to become somebody new and behave based on a certain scripted persona of how that new person would respond to their life or show up in their life, but instead that you're being intentional about the person you already are, that you are the type of person that wants to incorporate this new identity, this new behavior, this new way of looking at the world, that you are going to intentionally make sure that you're doing that instead of being like, oh, I gotta do the things, or I didn't do that I said I was gonna do and now I'm beating myself up for it. I really want to make it clear that you don't need confidence to change. You don't have to become that dream version first. Like, you're not ever going to cross a threshold that you feel like, wow, I'm this confident dream version of me now. It's just not how it works. It's not going to happen. What you need is clarity. You need to get really clear about where you want to go and who you want to become. And you're not doing that through making a list of goals that you want to achieve, but instead defining your identity. So saying something like, I am someone who prioritizes taking care of my body compared to I want to work out more. There are 4 identity categories that you need to consider when you are trying to build this new identity of the person that you genuinely are in alignment with and want to transform into. Those categories are lifestyle, emotional, standards, and energy. Lifestyle is how you live your days. What habits are you incorporating? What does your day-to-day routine and life look like? Who are you spending your time with? Where are you going? How does your house look? Is it clean? Is it messy? Is it chaotic? Is it relaxed? Is it calm? What is your overall lifestyle? How are you spending your time? Emotional is how you respond to your life. How are the things in your life impacting you directly? And how are you reacting to the things that come up in life? Your standards are the things that you do and do not allow, and getting clear on that. What is important to you, what you will accept in your life, and what you want to make sure you stay away from and remove from your life. And the 4th category is energy. And this is how you show up in the world, how you present yourself, who you are for other people, how you make other people feel. With lifestyle, emotional standards, energy in mind, you then can ask yourself, when things show up in your life or when you're navigating your life, how would the dream version of me show up on a random Tuesday? How would the dream version of me show up on this date? How would the dream version of me show up in approaching a date? How would the dream version of me show up with my friends? How would they show up with family? How would they show up at work? Once you get specific and can define those 4 categories of how you want to be and who you are, then you can get intentional about how you're showing up in those areas. This is where a lot of us stop, is we decide who we want to be and we pick the behaviors that would help us be that person, but then we don't follow through on the behaviors because what we've done, identifying it, isn't enough. What you have to do is start to build proof, even in tiny ways, that show that you are actually in alignment with this new identity. One core truth behind identity is that it is, in fact, built through evidence, not affirmations. Like, you can tell yourself that you're a certain way until you're blue in the face, but unless you actually have the evidence to back that up, that is not your identity. How many assholes do you know that try to convince you that they're a good person? It doesn't matter how much they affirm it. Their actions are what prove truth. So once you get specific about the identity you're trying to achieve, you then have to choose 2 to 3 identity proof habits to incorporate into your life. These are going to be small, easily repeatable actions that prove that the identity that you want to embody is real. If you're somebody that wants to incorporate healthy living into their day-to-day life, you have to say, I'm somebody that prioritizes taking care of my body. I'm somebody that loves myself enough to make sure that I'm caring for myself. And then what does a person like that do? Maybe they go for walks. Maybe they drink water. Maybe they shower daily. Maybe they go to the gym. Maybe they eat on a healthy whole food diet. It's got to be something that's easy and attainable for you, even on your worst day. On my worst day, I'm the worst at drinking water, let me tell you. But on my worst day, I know if that's the one thing I could do, I can do that. Or that I could read 10 pages of a self-development book. I can make sure that happens. Or even less, I can listen to something about self-development that makes me feel better. If you're somebody that wants to be more confident, then set a goal to say one thing that you actually feel once a day to somebody else in life. Or maybe you set a goal to make eye contact with somebody random in life. Or you set a goal to say hello to somebody. Again, something that even on your worst day, you know that you could get done. If you want to be somebody that's more disciplined, keep one promise to yourself every single day that will build self-trust. It'll tell you that you follow through on the things that you said that you were going to do. In the same exact way that you need to build trust with another person, you have to do those same things with yourself, and you have to do that intentionally. It's not about doing all of the things and getting everything right and having some magical Instagram looking life. It's about being somebody that shows up, that follows through on what they say they're going to do. The biggest truth that I needed to realize is that you do not become confident and then act. You have to act first, and that's what builds confidence. Enter whatever new identity you want to become. You don't become a person that goes to the gym by thinking that way first and then going. You have to go and then you become that person. And while you're building all of these new habits and integrating these new things into your life, you have to simultaneously let go of your old identity. And there's going to be a lot of things that come up that poke you and want you to show up as your old identity. And it's going to be uncomfortable to make the switch to choose the new direction, to choose the new identity. I think this is one of the things most people get wrong. And if this is something you relate to, go listen to last week's episode about how to let go of your old identity. Because what most of us do is we think that we're behaving out of alignment with ourselves because we're uncomfortable and we don't like it. But it's not that it's wrong for you. It's uncomfortable because it's new. And doing new things is uncomfortable. It's scary to do new things, but you will not be able to build a new identity while you're constantly confirming the old one. So the third step in building your new identity is catching your identity loops. What do you think about yourself inside of your head most often? Do you think you're an overthinker? Do you think you're somebody that gets socially anxious? Do you consider yourself someone socially awkward? Do you think of yourself as someone who's bad at consistency or who's lazy or who has a hard time showing up or has a hard time showing up long term? You have to shift that perspective from that's what I have done. I showed up that way in the past. Those were the choices I used to make, the behaviors I used to engage in. Not that that is who you are. It's things that you used to do. It's not who you are. Get in the habit of noticing when you're about to engage in a behavior that's in alignment with your old self, and build the habit of pausing and choosing differently. This is not as easy as it sounds. It's this simple, but it is not that easy to do because it is so quick when you go to engage in that old behavior. It's just so ingrained in how you show up that it takes a lot of noticing first. You're not going to implement the pause right away. And then you're not going to implement the new action right away, the new choice right away. That's not going to happen. It's going to be a process that happens over time. And the very first step that you need to do is start to build the habit of noticing when you're engaging in the old behavior. Every time I'm in a social situation and I feel myself shutting down, I have to notice that that's what I'm doing. And I noticed it for a long time before I ever was able to pause and make a different choice. But now, with practice, I've been able to do that. And it still isn't every single time that I'm able to do that. I still have fear of rejection. I still have the people-pleasing tendencies once in a while. I still feel like I don't want people to perceive me or I'm worried people will judge me, but I have to choose differently because I have to notice that I'm doing that for that purpose because that's my old identity creeping in, and then actively make a different choice. And that different choice is going to be uncomfortable, but enough different choices over time compile and you get to start identifying with that new thing. And every time you engage in that behavior, every time you act in alignment with your new identity or you act in alignment with your old identity, you're casting a vote for whichever one you're transforming into. More votes for the new identity will get you more in alignment with that new identity that you can actually feel like that person, even if you still have cast for the old identity. As long as you have more in the new identity bucket, then you're okay. And over time, you'll keep getting more and more and more and more votes in that new identity bucket. Something that is really important to me to make incredibly clear when you are pursuing this new journey of becoming this new identity is that you are going to feel the gap between who you want to be, who you intellectually and logically know you are capable of being, and who you are right now. Your knowledge to skill gap is going to be large, even though you understand what it would look like to be a person that takes care of their physical health and all of the steps necessary in order to do that. Even though you understand what it would be like to be a person that can date freely and not be afraid of rejection and people's opinion and having to go through that process, that doesn't mean that your skill is there yet. Apply that to anything: confidence, socially awkwardness, anything. You have to, like anything else, build the practice and work towards becoming that new identity over time. But feeling like a fraud when you're doing those things is a part of the process. It's not a sign that you're doing something wrong. This is where a lot of people quit that I was talking about earlier, is that it's going to feel uncomfortable and you're going to feel like you're doing something that's out of alignment with you because you're doing something different. But it is in alignment with you because it's in your head as something that you want. You just don't have the skill to practice it yet. And everything is a skill to be intentionally practiced. But before that intentional practice takes place and you haven't engaged in this behavior at all, you feel fake. You feel like you're being performative. You feel like you're doing something that you don't want to do. And that doesn't feel good, but you're not being fake. It's not that it's not in alignment with you. It's just that it's unfamiliar. It doesn't feel like you yet because it hasn't had the time to become you, to allow it to bloom into something that really could be who you are. With everything in mind and how you can step by step build your new identity, I really, really want you to anchor into the idea that you are good enough now exactly as you are. You are not building this new identity because there is something wrong with who you are and what you're doing and what your life looks like right now. You cannot approach new identity from a place of lack. You have to see that you love yourself enough and respect yourself enough and want more for you enough that you are allowing yourself to evolve. It's just a different perspective. It's just a different lens to look at it through. And when you look at it through a lens of evolution compared to self-deprecation, you get so much farther. You genuinely feel like the new identity because you're able to enjoy your experience of developing the new identity. There is a big difference between the self-rejection and saying, I need to fix myself. I don't like this about me. I want better. I want to do more. And you're being a dick to you. And self-leadership, saying that you want more for yourself. You have to build the identity from a place of self-trust and self-love. It's the only way, truly, like speaking genuinely from experience. I tried the self-hate direction for so long and it doesn't work. It doesn't get you anywhere. You think that if you work harder and you're more intense about it, that it would get you to where you want to go. Doesn't work. It is only when you actually come from a place of self-love and kindness and compassion and having your own back regardless, like being the one person that has always been with you through everything and that truly knows absolutely everything about you and how you lived and how you perceived and what has happened to you, having your own back, being able to, regardless of whatever's going on in life, be there for you. You have to start with a lens of self-love. So let me give you the formula of how to build your new identity in a simple, quick, easy takeaway kind of way. Step number 1 is getting really specific about your new identity. Who is that person? Not your goals. Who is that person? The second step is choosing proof. You have to pick 2 to 3 small, easily repeatable habits that you can incorporate in your day-to-day life. 3 is interrupting old patterns. You have to be able to stop confirming that past version of you and start casting more votes in the direction of the new you than the direction of the old you. The 4th step is repeating this consistently. It's going to be multiple times a day, over and over and over and over and over a long period of time. It's going to be imperfect. You're not always going to get it right, but you have to keep repeating it consistently. And the 5th step is that you have to let it feel unfamiliar. You have to be okay that it's going to not be that fun. We think it's going to be fun because we think the dream identity that we want to be is so wonderful and magical and great that it's going to be so great once we incorporate these things. Growth is uncomfortable. Growth is not very fun. It's fun when you have the realization and you're like, holy shit, looking back, I did that thing. but it's not fun in the process. It's not comfortable. And you have to be okay with that. And you have to expect that and know that and normalize that. But that said, that doesn't mean that you should be fighting tooth and nail in order to enjoy your life. You need to be able to do this from a relaxed, enjoyable, peaceful place with the full knowledge that incorporating new things and new identity into your life will be uncomfortable. You do not need to earn the right to become the version of you that you're picturing in your head. You don't have to work hard enough in order to be that person. You don't have to prove it to anybody in order to be that person. You just can choose to become the version of you that's in your head. You are worthy of becoming the version of you that's in your head. That's not cringe. It's not something that you don't deserve. It's not something that anybody can take away from you. You have the power to genuinely become that person if you have the bravery to do that. You are already good enough right now as you are. You are just making the decision to be more intentional. Your identity is not something that is just going to happen. It's not going to be this transformation that you become unrecognizable, that you one day cross a threshold and say, holy shit, I made it. I'm here now. I did the thing. I became the person. That's not how it works. It's something that you have to choose and then choose again and choose again and choose again and choose again. And over time, you finally get to feel like the identity because you just naturally show up as that person. Let me get it into your head that self-improvement is not about becoming better. It's not about fixing who you are now. It's about using the tools that you are given through podcasts, through YouTube, through books, through life that will allow you to live more aligned with your genuine true self. That's it for today's episode. I have an incredible interview lined up for you guys this Wednesday to kick off April's new theme of lifestyle and routines. I think it's really important to incorporate lifestyle and routines that help us live more wellishly compared to more rigidly well, and how we can do that. And one of the biggest things that impacts how we show up in our lifestyle and routines is the relationships that we have. So this episode is going to be all about how our relationships can better support our lifestyle and our routines. It's not one you're going to want to miss. I love you guys endlessly. I know you are so capable of becoming anybody that you want to be, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.